Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to your August 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, subscribed, shared, donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you who'd like to book a personal reading with me, follow me on Instagram or donate to the channel. Just check out the description of the video for all that information. Alright, and for those of you who are normally used to my general readings that haven't seen this type of spread yet, the first thing you'll probably notice is there's different tarot cards on the table, and it's a different spread altogether. So let's go through that. On the left side, we have the Lover's Path Tarot, and on the right side, we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. And the spread itself, I actually call it the Bridging the Gap spread. The way it works is these three cards would represent your energy. These three cards would represent the other person's energy. And then we actually pull some oracle cards after we get through the main spread to help tie everything together, and that's where the Bridging the Gap angle comes into play. All right, and I do have to say that since we do see your major arcana card here on the other person's side, if as we're going through this, it sounds more like you feel like this is more your energy and this is the other person's energy, and you could definitely trust that. I mean, it is just a general reading, so it could definitely play out the opposite for some of you. All right. And I have to say, this looks like it's a bit of a heavy one too, but we'll see as we start to go through it. All right, so in the past energy on your side, we have the Four of Staves in reverse. So I'll just turn it around while we talk about it so it's less distracting, but this is actually the equivalent of the Four of Wands. You probably figured that out because the artwork's very similar to that card as well, but with this coming up in the reverse, this says to me that there might have been actually a committed relationship with this person in the past and you ended up breaking it off. It could have already been as far as to the level of marriage, or since this is an Aries card and Aries is your fifth house, I would say it's probably more likely that for a lot of you, this is a connection that you saw going that route eventually. You know, you guys were working towards that, but then you ended up breaking off the connection with them. And it could have happened in the time of Aries, certainly that's a possibility. Or maybe even possibly, I would say, I'm getting a vibe of maybe the beginning of July, if it's more recent for you guys. But yeah, that's definitely the main vibe that I'm getting there. It's like there was a buildup of a relationship, or maybe even it was just an image you had of the person where you thought they were long-term material, and maybe you saw something recently that made you change your mind about that. But let's go to their energy in the past. And like I said, this could be yours since we do see your major arcana card here. So we have Temperance, Knight of Chalices, which is the Knight of Cups, and Knave of Wands, which is the Page of Wands. So, like I said, this is the major arcana card for your side. The first thing that comes to my mind with these cards is that there was definitely some kind of infidelity going on this side. So, like I said, could be you for some of you, certainly, but maybe someone else. So, here we have the Temperance card, and if we look at the artwork, to me, this looks like it could be the same woman in the Knight of Chalices card. So, it could have been a Pisces you were dealing with. And then maybe they also had something going on with another person on the side as well. And that wouldn't surprise me as far as in their reading for July, their love reading, there was some craziness going on with third parties and everything. And I don't remember if there was a Sagittarius energy in the mix there, but I definitely remember the third party element. So certainly at least a possibility some of you could be dealing with a Pisces, or you have a Pisces placement in your chart as well, or they do. But yeah, that's really what's jumping out to me right away. Just because there's so many people involved here, and then seeing the Temperance card, which is a card that represents balance to an extent, that would to me say, okay, they might have been balancing, between you and another person. Basically just your standard third party situation. So obviously we could see why that would end this connection, or like I said, even if it was just the way you perceived that, this is someone I could see a future with, then maybe you found out something about them where they were really shady and you're like, okay, maybe not. Trying to think if anything else comes to my mind with those cards, but No, that's pretty much it. Like I said, unfortunately, I don't really see necessarily a positive way to spin that especially when you combine the two past positions together. In the present position on your side, we see the Five of Coins and the Princess of Arrows. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Swords and the Five of Coins, Five of Pentacles. This is an energy about being left out in the cold. We're definitely used to that with the Rider-Waite version as well, but here you even see the woman looks like she's holding a baby. So this is, again, another thing that makes me think you could definitely be dealing with a Pisces, or you have a prominent Pisces placement yourself, because there was also a pregnancy vibe with that too, with the whole third party thing. So feeling that left out in the cold, maybe this is someone you already did have a child with, then maybe now you feel like, you had to get out of that connection because they were cheating behind your back, and maybe you found out about it. So you might have left the connection, but now you might be struggling financially because, you guys might have had joint funds, obviously. So you get into that rhythm with someone, of course, if you guys split ways, especially out of the blue like that, because all of a sudden you found out what they were up to and you had to leave, then you could just be struggling with finances. With the Princess of Arrows, this could just represent wanting to communicate to someone. So maybe you actually, you're going to be asking them for child support, for example, let's say, right? Or maybe you find out you're pregnant in the present and you have to communicate that to them now. You're like, by the way, I'm pregnant. And, you might be like, and unlike you're the only person I've been with, so it's definitely yours, you know what I mean? So it could be one of those situations there. Doesn't necessarily have to be something that scandalous. This could just represent also, this is the first 10 degrees of Taurus, and even though this isn't technically a specific air sign, the princess energy, this makes me think of that aspect that we had in early July, which was Mercury square Uranus in the sign of Taurus in those degrees, and then that is going to happen again around I think the 18th or so of August. So maybe that's when communication comes out about that. So maybe it was something you might have found out in the beginning of July, or may have happened in the beginning of July, and then there's more communication to come about it around the time of the Aquarius full moon, which is when that same aspect is going to happen again. Maybe that's what that's pointing to. All right. In the position of the present energy on their side toward the connection, we have Ace of Swords and the Moon. So this is actually an interesting combination, because even though I do say with the Moon in the upright, some people view the Moon as deception. I don't necessarily view it that way in the upright, but let's say it's timeline. Maybe some of you might have found this out, let's say maybe during the full moon eclipse in Capricorn, because even though this is present position for August, I am technically recording this before August starts. We just had that eclipse a little while ago, so maybe that's what that's pointing to. And then maybe that's when you found out the truth. Again, maybe if you found out you're pregnant, or you found out what was going on with this person. But to me, that's even less likely, because I feel like all of that already happened in the past as far as the connection splitting. So what seems more likely is they may try to communicate to you in a truthful way, but you might not believe it. You might feel that they're still being deceptive, or it could just be saying that they could present what they're saying to you as the truth, but they're actually still being a bit deceptive about what's going on. And we do see, at least there you could think of a potential third-party scenario there too with the artwork. So definitely some interesting energy with this person. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting combination, but could just be pointing to a timeline then. Maybe even that full moon in Aquarius too, because that's when that same aspect I was pointing to is going to happen. So you might hear from them around that time. That's probably the most likely way that that's playing out, which is to say that full moon happens in Aquarius, which happens to be your third house of communication too. So that's really what I'm seeing. These two energies here, I'm seeing primarily pointing to right around August 17th, 18th, because that's pretty much the same aspects going on there. So you're definitely going to find something out around that time. In the future position, we have the Princess of Coins. And this is actually the equivalent of the Page of Pentacles. So what I say when I look at the Page of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite deck, one thing I always point out to people is it looks like the pentacle is just out of the person's reach. So that could be what it is here. You know, maybe you do have communication with them and let them know, hey, I'm pregnant, you know. So maybe there's a discussion around, maybe for some of you, maybe even trying to repair the connection. I know that seems a little unlikely, and I certainly wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to repair that connection, given what it seems like was going on. But this could just represent maybe, you know, letting them know the deal, or if this is, like I said, you guys already have the child together, but now you're just trying to get it set up where, like, well, look, I need you to help me pay for this child, or I'm going to, let's say, maybe you might threaten to take them to court. Maybe that's what the Princess of Arrows is, which is saying, you know, it's not as serious of a threat as, say, if it was the Queen of Arrows or the Justice card, but you might just be letting them know, like, well, look, it's fine, we're split up and all, but we have a child together. I'm going to need you to start paying some money toward that, you know. So maybe this is saying they might agree with you, okay, yes, we're going to give you some money, but, you know, you might have to wait a bit. So that could be what's going on there. And the future energy on their side, we have the King of Wands. So this is actually the court card for Leo. Could mean that maybe some of you are dealing with the Leo, because I do have to say, like I said, if this is actually your energy, right, this could just be saying that, you know, since there is a Knave of Wands and a Knight of Chalices, could be someone that has like Pisces and Leo placements in their chart. But another way this could be playing out on the more, you know, optimistic end of the spectrum could just be saying that they're growing up a bit, because with that King of Wands energy, and I think I had that similar vibe with the Pisces reading last month too. So like I said, if there's a connection, either you have a Pisces placement or they do, you might want to check that July reading out. It might give you a little bit more insight. Just because the reason I say that is, you know, maybe I think in their reading I was pointing out too that maybe it's the whole thing where you find out that you're pregnant, and then that actually makes both of you step up. Like, oh, okay. Like maybe it was even something casual. Maybe you saw yourself going long term, but maybe there wasn't an official commitment, right? So maybe you guys are just casually dating. And then there was you and another person involved, and then, you know, maybe you thought things were going in the right direction, but things got, you know, went off the rails a bit. Which, you know, there's retrogrades and eclipses, so it wouldn't surprise me. And then maybe this is saying that this is their energy actually stepping up and saying, okay, well, you know, whoever it is trying to repair the connection, or even just realizing that they're going to have to step up financially and help in that regard, right? So at least that's a positive sign for their energy in the future. But at the bottom of the deck on your side, we do have the Tower card. So that's actually, it's called Oppression in this deck, which, you know, makes it even more straightforward about what it's about. So, you know, with it being called Oppression, this could even just represent that this was just a toxic connection. It makes me even more likely to think that you did leave, and this is just more about getting your money right with this person. It's not about you actually getting back together with them. This looks like I'm getting the vibe that you guys are like, this is a toxic connection. I'm getting out of here, you know, and that's really it. And I got a similar vibe to that with the general reading for you guys this month, talking about leaving toxic patterns and people behind. So that definitely wouldn't surprise me if that's what's going on here too. I will say though, at the three, rather underneath that, we have the Three of Cups, which is a celebratory energy. Could be reconnecting with your siblings if you have any. People you might have known for a long time, you know, just reconnecting with friends and celebrating. I mean, hell, like I said, if this is you guys can bounce back sometimes, even though this sounds really scandalous. So, maybe it was an oppressive connection anyway, and you just, finding this out about them, the third party thing might have just finally been that final nudge you needed to get up and leave. Because you guys have been having some interesting aspects, like at least most of June and some of July, your ruling planet, which was going retrograde, was square Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So there could have definitely been some deception going on during those 2 months, especially. So, maybe this was that thing that you needed to snap you out of it. And there certainly doesn't have to necessarily be a kid involved in all the cases. It's just that the fact that they are showing the woman holding a child makes me think that definitely for at least some of you that's the case. But again, could just be regarding how you viewed the connection with the person. You thought, oh, we're going to get married, we're going to have kids together. You find out that they're totally not, that kind of person. You find out all this dirt about them, and now you're like, I'm out of here. And then you actually, yeah, you're disappointed initially, but then you realize just how good it is for you to get away from that, and maybe realizing that you dodged a bullet in that regard, right? If you didn't have a child with me, you're like, whoa, I'm glad I got out of there when I did, basically. I mean, there's some similarities between these two women. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same person, but definitely could be. And I will mention the bottom of the deck on their side is the Ace of Pentacles, too. So, for a small percentage of you, like I said, this could represent the two of you actually trying to repair the connection. Maybe it is, hey, like I said, if you guys were both kind of being a bit more casual, or, you were one of their casual connections and you knew it, but then you're like, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant, and maybe that might get you guys discussing moving toward a long-term connection together, and it actually helps them grow up and step up to the plate. But I'm not seeing that for most of you, to be perfectly honest. What this could just be saying is they are thinking over, okay, yes, they need money from me for the situation, right? Okay. So now they're like, all right, I'm going to extend an offer to some money for them. And with the King of Wands, I do think they will make good on that, at least for what it's worth. But yeah, overall, some tough energies there. We'll see if the Oracle cards can give us any additional insight. So first, I'll pull some cards from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck I have here. And I do shuffle the deck before we start recording, but I like to just read through the spread before I can look at these cards. So I'll see if I get a jumper. For those of you who haven't seen this spread from me before, I shuffle for a bit, see if we get a jumper. If we do, I take it. If not, I don't force anything from, I don't pull from the top of the deck or pull a random card out or anything. I just take it as a sign. We didn't need any messages from this, but yeah. So first, I'll be looking for any unspoken messages from you towards them. So let's see if we get anything there. Alright, nothing coming up yet, but I'll shuffle a little bit more, see if we get any. Could just be emphasizing just how done you might be with them at this point if nothing's coming up. Might be like, yeah, I don't have anything to say to this person at this point other than give me my money. Alright, yeah, nothing coming up there, so we'll see if there's any unspoken messages from them toward you. Oh, almost had one there, but not quite. Alright, 2 cards came up there. Hold on. There they go. Okay. Wow, if I could grab these freaking things. Alright, there we go. We got maybe we're just too different. And I'm a better person because of you. Alrighty then. So quite opposite messages, but here's what I'm thinking. If we could try to make some sense of that, right? For some of you, that could just be pointing to what I was saying, that for a small percentage of you, that person might step up. That could be what the King of Wands was about, saying that they might actually step up and, if there really technically wasn't a true deep connection between the two of you, but they find out about that and they actually do make an effort, maybe that's what the Ace of Swords and the Moon could be saying, that it throws them for a loop. They're like, wow, okay, this is real. Like, apparently I'm going to be a dad or mom, right? Well, obviously, if you're a mom, you would know. So it's just a dad. I'm assuming it's more male energy in this case. So yeah, you might be like, oh, okay, so I'm actually going to be a dad now. So some of them might actually step up in that regard. And then, so I feel like this is for a much smaller percentage of you. And then the other person might just try to excuse their actions, like, oh yeah, I don't know, maybe we're just too different. Like, maybe this is totally what they're about. Like, maybe they're about having multiple partners at once, and you're the type who wants a more traditional connection, and they might even try to make it sound like you're the bad guy. Like, okay, well, this is what I do. You know what I mean? They might be like, maybe, and that could be what the King of Wands could be saying in that regard. Like, in a more negative manifestation, it can point to some ego, right? So they might be like, all right, well, this is just how I am. Maybe we should just yeah. Seriously, I can't speak. Like, maybe we shouldn't, wow. Maybe we just shouldn't see each other at all. There we go. Woo! That was a tough one. Sorry, guys. Mercury is still retrograde, but I think that was just me being a hot mess. Not even going to blame that on Mercury. So yeah, so I think that's definitely two different groups there. And like I said, this one is probably a much smaller percentage of you, I feel, just because, like I said, it seems like for the majority of you, I don't see much getting back on track. But some of you really could have that person step up. The other's just going to blow it off, like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to do what I do. And that's probably why you're happy. For those of you who are like, just happy to get out of that connection because it was oppressive. All right. And lastly, we'll try to get a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle. So this is one of the Oracle decks I use in the regular readings as well. So some of you might be used to that. And for this, we're just looking for one card to help, wrap everything up. Pretty wild reading. Like I said, the Pisces one was like that last month, and I was like, okay, there's no way this is going to resonate for a lot of people, but it actually seemed to resonate for quite a few people. So I almost hope this one doesn't resonate for you guys because it's a little crazy, but it does happen. That's life, right? Us humans know how to mess things up. Like I said, in that regard, it would align with your general reading where, like I said, it was just the energy of letting go of toxic patterns in people. So at least there's that connection there where it does seem like you are ready to move, and maybe a Roman sign going direct around the 10th or 11th of August is just going to add to that, fuel the fire for you a bit. All right, let me shuffle a bit more and get a card here. All right, I'll give it, oh, there we go. All right, Yang. Okay, so let me actually show you guys the artwork for it. And this is actually number 1 in the deck, so let me just read the messages from that. Okay, it says the masculine principle of movement and creative activity, the power to make things happen, taking action. The Oracle's message: Yang represents the power of action, the energies that propel the world forward, and manifesting thought and desire into concrete form. Now is the perfect time to act, for you can easily build momentum and make headway. What you want will come to fruition if you proceed confidently. This card signifies new life and is a sure sign that obstacles have been overcome. There is no reason to hesitate. You are the shaper of your destiny now. So yeah, I would say for those of you who were considering balancing, if you haven't done it yet, maybe that's just a message saying that, yeah, it might be time for you to go. Like I said, for the majority of you, I think that's what's going to end up happening anyway. But the relationship message says circumstances are supporting action on your part. It's okay to make the first move. Trust that you will quickly know where you stand. In matters of the heart, there is movement toward your highest good, so go forth with assurance. Passion is in the air, and now is the time to dance to the tune of love. Take the lead. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If anything, I see that's leaving altogether. Like I said, I'm not really seeing. I mean, yes, for a small percentage of you, with the I'm a better person because of you, and the person getting into that King of Wands energy, it's certainly a possibility. Or maybe this is more of the message for them saying that they need to step up, basically. I don't know if you would take them back. I'm not necessarily getting that vibe there at all, but maybe if they do step up, I don't know. That's going to be up to you guys. Like I said, this was definitely a wild one. And like I said, in a way, I hope it doesn't resonate for most of you because it's definitely some weird energy to be going through. But hopefully, you guys got something from that. And I'll see you all next month. All right? Bye.